Question 3c. Methane, petrol and coal are fuels. Table 2 shows information about these fuels. And here's table 2, so it's got the fuel, methane, petrol, coal. It's got the state of matter, gas, liquid and solid. Okay, energy content in kilojoules per gram. Mass in milligrams of carbon dioxide produced for 1 kilojoule of energy released. Okay, so there's numbers there. Evaluate the use of the fuels. Use in the information. Okay, use information from the table and your knowledge. Okay, so you've got to also use your knowledge as well. So evaluate questions are really interesting because they're going to require some information. So we're going to have some info. I don't know how many marks this is worth yet. But then finally, the last bit, I'm going to have a conclusion and justification. So I need to say why. Okay, so I know that my last 2 bullets here, the last 2 marks are going to be for a conclusion and then saying why. So how many marks is this question worth? Well, it's worth 6 marks, quite a big question. So I'm going to write down my bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So slightly different than usual now. I'm going to just remind myself that this is the conclusion. So that's my conclusion, the last bullet there. So I've got 4 bits of information I need to write. And I need to write information from the table and also something I know as well. Well, if I look here, there are 1, 2, 3, there are 3 different headings. So this is going to be my state. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the energy and this one. I'm going to talk about the CO2 with this one. And this one here, I'm going to add some knowledge. So I'm going to add something I know. Okay, I'm not sure what that is yet, but I'll think about that in a moment. So the state, it may well be that the state, I do these in different order. But if I look at the state here, I need to be able to say something about the state. Well, which state is going to be easiest? So, so coal is solid, which is easiest to sort of transport. Okay, you can just dump solids into lorries. What I can't just say is coal is solid. Okay, I need to add some information. Which is easiest to transport. Okay, which is the most difficult? Methane is gas. It's going to be the hardest to transport. Gas, so is hardest to transport. Okay, the energy. Well, okay, so which one? Methane gives off the most energy. So methane contains the most energy per gram. Coal the least. Okay, so each line I'm just adding a little bit more information. I'm just using these to sort of compare. I'm comparing each line as a comparison for each of these things here. So which one? I've got to compare this now. CO2 produced 1 kilojoule of energy. Okay, so coal produces the most CO2 per kilojoule of energy, and methane the least. Right, I need to add some knowledge here. Anything I can think of? Well, I might say about the fact that coal has to be mined and causes the sort of biggest environmental issues that we can see. That's quite a nice one there, some knowledge I know about coal mining. So I could add that. I could add about the fact that I know that when you burn coal you also get sulfur dioxide released. And that's obviously bad because that causes acid rain. That's one of the reasons why we stopped doing it. So I might put that down actually. So burning coal releases sulfur dioxide, which can cause acid rain. Okay, there's my bit of knowledge. Now I need a conclusion. The terrific thing with conclusions is ultimately you can write anything you like. It doesn't really matter as long as you justify it. So you could say here that coal is the best. So I think. So the key bit is I think. You could say coal's the best because it's easiest to transport. It's easiest to mine. Yeah, that makes it the best fuel. The key bit is you've got to be able to justify it. Now, it would seem here methane contains the most energy. It also releases the least CO2. So I think they're two really big issues. Therefore, I'm going to say it's methane. You might equally say it's petrol because petrol's a liquid, makes it easier to transport than gas. It's easier to burn than coal, but it's got more energy. So I think I'm going to put methane. I think methane is the best fuel. Okay, this is because, so my final one, I've got to justify it. This is because it has the most energy and releases least CO2. I'm going to add here why that's important, because I haven't written that anywhere yet, and I know that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, so it has least impact on the greenhouse effect. Okay, so if I get a chance to add any knowledge of my own, I'm going to do that. So I know CO2 leads to the greenhouse effect, so I'm going to make sure I reference it in my answer. Okay, I hope that helps.